Alrighty, folks, we're here with another reaction video, and this one is of the Steam Deck 6 months later. Is it still a buy, basically? um, so I'm curious. I have about a 9 month, 10 month review that I'm going to be doing for the Steam Deck that I have, which is back there. Um, so again, for those that want to whine, bitch, and complain about the fact that I'm doing Steam Deck review reactions, this channel's tagline is Fusion of Technology, Linux, and Gaming. Or Linux Technology and Gaming, if you want the LTG portion. So the whole point is that this device meets all three of those criteria. The only other device that I have remotely that ships and has gaming and technology swing on it that is like that is the Atari VCS. So again, if you don't like the fact that I'm reviewing these devices, specifically these videos, and getting people's takes on the Steam Deck and their Linux experience portion of it, well, tough shit. Change the channel. Let's roll into it.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy ExpertAbs coming back at you live today for a brand new video about the Steam Deck, and this video is going to be titled Steam Deck 6 months later, still a buy, a review. Okay, so guys, before we get into the actual video, I'd like to tell you what it's going to be about. So it's going to be about my review of the Steam Deck 6 months after buying it, 6 months after using it. I'm going to tell you all about my experience that I have.
The title pretty much gives it away, bro. So can we just roll into the content? Not gonna lie.
Had with it, and I'm going to tell you if it was worth the buy or not. Okay, I'm going to tell you if it was actually worth it or not. So guys, I'd also like to remind you that I'm going to be producing and releasing some really high quality content in the next few days relative to the Steam Deck and other handheld consoles.
You're probably gonna be staring at the thumbnail the entire time because that's what it's looking like. Okay. I guess I'll have to be a little more animated than I normally am than this particular reaction then.
Such as the Aya Neo 2 and also the One X Player 2, for example. Okay, I'm going to be talking about that kind of handheld consoles, and I'm going to be talking about lifestyle subjects such as traveling, such as fitness, such as dating advice and travel advice and fitness advice, of course. So if you are into that kind of content, guys, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that bell icon, because there's gonna be some really good content coming out in the next few days. All right, guys.
Now, I'm not going to say I'm short-winded. I'm quite long-winded on some of my takes, I'm not going to lie. However, I just had about over a minute and 15 seconds of a video that could have been totally axed. That's what the channel trailer's for, bruh. Anyway, can we get to the Steam Deck portion?
Now that we get something, that we get this behind us, let's get into the actual topic of today, which is my review of the Steam Deck 6 months after buying it. A couple of comparisons against other consoles, and basically a verdict: should you buy it or not? Is it worth it still or not? Okay, guys. So, as you know, nowadays in the world of gaming and computers, basically, things don't move as fast as they used to. Back in the 1990s, early 2000s, and even like before 2015, I guess, if you bought a console or a PC, chances are the hardware would become outdated quite quickly. In the 90s and early 2000s, it was a few months. Then in the mid 2000s, yeah, still a few months, and in the 2010s, it was a few years, maybe like 2 or 3 years. But right now that we've hit the 2020s, it's a little bit different, you know. Now that we're post 2015, it's a little bit different, and hardware has become more durable in time. Okay, hardware now lasts a long time, and with the hardware that the Steam Deck is packing, and of course the dedicated support from Valve, and the fact that the SteamOS is bespoke, crafted, is custom made for the Steam Deck hardware, then I am really not fearful for the future. I am quite hopeful, to say the least, because I think that this device is going to last in time. And I have to say that I have had a really good time with the Steam Deck, okay? So, now, one of the first things I like to say about the Steam Deck is that the console features a high resolution display, a powerful processor, and built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, which is
powerful hardware, yes. High-res display, that's relative to the size. You hear a lot of people bitch whining and complain about, oh, I wanted OLED, I wanted, a 4K display on a 7-inch fucking screen, because they're morons. Ideally, for me, I think the resolution is fine. The 1280 by 800, I think at a 7-inch display makes sense. It also keeps your manufacturing costs down using not a higher end costing display as well. But people want to be chodes and idiots, and but I would like high end is, like I have a, I don't even know what the res on this is, but OLED phone as an example. So, powerful, yes. High-end screen, not so much.
Which is really useful, of course. It also has a large game library with a wide variety of genres and style available, of course, because with the Steam Deck you can basically play more or less all games available on Steam. Not all of them, of course, but most of them. And this is really, really nice. This is a...
Okay, so this is that myth that I hate, because you're going to hear whining regardless of what idiot, and I'm not calling the person here idiot, but you're going to hear whining on either side. Oh, it doesn't play X game. It doesn't play Y. It can't play B. It can't play C. However, people tend to ignore the fact that it can play, C through T, essentially, for most people. So the last, I believe, like, kind of official-ish count was 7,000 playable games, give or take. The Steam library consists of about 50,000, if I remember correctly. Those numbers fluctuate and change, obviously. But the point remains, there's a lot of games that will drag most consoles out of the mud. Sorry. For a console to launch within the first year to have 7,000 games takes a generation plus for most consoles to even remotely have. I mean, if we're going back to like the launch of the PS3 as an example, they talked about backwards compatibility with the PS1, PS2. It took the PS1 and the PS2 to the PS3 to have 14,000 games. Theoretically, according to Sony at the time. So whether or not that's 14,000 available games, there's a lot of situational stuff there too. So the library is relative to the user and what the user is looking for expectations of the games they type in and the type of games they play. So for me, I'm more of a single player. I'm not a people person. So this makes more sense for me because it caters to more of the gameplay styles that I'm interested in. But it does have some of the multiplayer games that people will care about. Apex, shows Elden Ring there, obviously. There are big titles on this device that would not normally be on a lot of other kind of like first gen type devices. So the fact that that's there is telling of what some of the companies think, at least as far as support for the device from a software point of view. Because what the compatibility layer stuff does is it takes a lot of the back end work that a lot of people have to do to officially port a game over to, say, the Linux base out of it. And, for the Linux users are going to whine, we want native. Do you really honestly care how the magic voodoo works as long as it runs on the base system that you prefer? If the answer is yes, Shut the fuck up and let the thing run. I don't care if it's Wine. I don't care if it's Proton. Honestly, I don't care if it's a UWP. If it works on the system, who cares?
It's a really great experience, I have to say. Okay, then when I first one of the first things that I really enjoyed was their game library. Okay, and since its release, the Steam Deck game library has only grown, which is definitely an advantage because, you know, new titles have been added to the console's lineup, and there are now even more options available than ever. And this is definitely an advantage, and it really shows that Valve is doing a lot of really impressive work. You know, Valve is really working hard on the Steam Deck and improving its compatibility, even without having to switch to Windows 11 or without having to switch to Proton version. In terms of hardware, the Steam Deck is still performing well 6 months after its release. The console has a high quality display and a powerful processor, which makes for a smooth and enjoyable gaming experience. The console also has a long battery life, so you can play for hours without having to stop and recharge, okay?
Battery life is relative based on a number of factors. Graphic settings is one of them. Optimizations by developers for the hardware is another one of them. The internal tweaking you decide to do in the power options, a lot of those matter to the battery life. So battery life can be relative to the user based on the user's choices they decide to make. Default battery life, I'm going to say, is somewhere in the neighborhood of the original Switch with default settings. So about 3 hours, give or take, 3.5 hours max. That's what I would say. But in that 3 to 3.5, it depends on the style of game you play. If you're going to play a super like graphically intense game, yeah, that battery ain't going to last more than an hour and a half. But it's the same thing that you saw when you try playing things like Skyrim, or you play like Breath of the Wild or anything on the OG Switch. You saw that battery life tank. So it's a common criticism, but it's not it's a criticism that's valid, but it's also a criticism that's not fully valid based on user expectations, but the control the user has to kind of mitigate some of that. Again, not all of it. Battery life still could be better.
In my experience, you can play for at least 4 hours before you have to recharge, which for me is enough because I mostly use the Steam Deck at home. Yeah. And pretty much overall, I think the Steam Deck is still a great buy 6 months after its release. It's a well-made console with a lot of features and a wide selection of games. If you're in the market for a handheld console, the Steam Deck is definitely worth considering. Okay, one of the minor issues, one of the only minor issues that I've encountered with the Steam Deck is that there have been a few updates and patches released since it's released, okay? There have been too few patches and updates released since I bought the console, since its release. While this is normal for any console, it can be a bit of a hassle to have to, basically update and patch the actual console. Yeah, updating and patching the actual console is a little bit of a hassle sometimes, okay? But I think personally that there have been too few of them, and I wish that there would have been more of them, you know?
Care to extrapolate on the hassle part? It gives you a gear up in the top. There's a gear icon that tells you there's an update. You click it until it restarts the machine. Now, as far as frequency, Valve wants a stable platform. If you want more features and functions sooner, then I would highly recommend going to the beta channel. And if you want more features and functions and potentially games at work, and you want to beta test some of those for Proton, go and enroll in the Proton Experimental. Features and functions are relative to the shipping experience. Valve is shipping an experience that they want. So they want a stable experience, but they also want to control the experience. So therefore they went with Linux. So therefore they don't rely on Microsoft and all the other nonsense there. Controlling their own destiny as it was. So I'm going to disagree with that outtake because some of the stuff that has been caught in the beta has definitely helped not break the system. And realistically, they're on what, 3.4? They came out with 3. Then so like what, every 2 months, 3 months. That's a pretty good clip for something that is a fairly new device. I mean, better than what I got with the Atari VCS.
So yeah, this was pretty much my review of the Steam Deck after 6 months. I would really like to know what you guys think of it. Because yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with my Steam Deck, and I wish, more people would buy the Steam Deck and basically talk about it, because I think it's such a cool console and it's so practical to be able to use it around your house, And I wonder about the updates. Do you guys also wish there had been more updates, or do you think it is a hassle to update the Steam Deck all the time? Because yeah, I do think it's a hassle to update it, but I really don't mind at the same time, because I know that the Steam Deck is being improved, it's being improved upon basically. So yeah, that's more or less my final opinion. If you guys have any other ideas, if you guys have any suggestions, if you guys
Okay, so it just sounds like padding at this point. The short version is, I'm glad you enjoyed the experience. I'm glad you enjoyed your purchase. I'm not here to vindicate or just to give you justification for your purchase, but if you're getting enjoyment out of it, awesome. I know people who have had a great, fantastic time with like their Atari VCS, and I'm just using that as an example to say that not every device is for everybody. Example, I have an Xbox Series X. I don't have a PS5. Why? Because PS5, well, doesn't give me a lot of what I'm looking for. Anyway, so as far as updates and frequency and that stuff, roll into the beta channels if that's what you want. That's the best I can give you for that one. I think 4 major OS updates in the last 9.5 months, give or take, is a pretty good clip, at least since it's been available to the general public. But I really don't have a lot of animation to say as far as this particular person's review. It's just their opinion. Awesome. Glad it works for you. If it didn't, cool. As far as being a hassle to update, all consoles, all technology that updates is a pain in the ass. So everything from the Xbox, PS4, PC, Linux, etc., they all suck. Doesn't matter the experience. iOS, iPad OS, Watch OS, whatever it's called, Android Wear, everything sucks at updating. It's just consumers don't like the fact that they have to click the button and it takes away from their time to, do whatever. But yet they'll gladly sit there and download a 60 gig update and won't whine and complain about that experience. So as a console gamer, I'm just going to say, have a similar outtake on the Steam Deck and consoles, because you get a very console experience with the Steam Deck. Most people just don't want to realize that that experience isn't that great anymore. It's not drop and play. It's drop and wait. So other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.